Hi folks, we're just continuing the conversation today about expansion. Thank you so much for your participation in this discussion. So this is kind of just hot topics or quick takes on some of the issues that pop up when we're looking at what's happening so far with the 5 signings for each team. I know some of the actual technicalities of what's going to happen have not been made clear, such as who's even going to pick first, Seattle or Vancouver. We don't know. We also don't know about the entry draft, and this is a big one. You can check out an article by my friend Ian Kennedy in the Hockey News about why he thinks the original 6 teams should draft ahead of the expansion teams with the way that they're looking right now. It's really hard not to say that these 2 teams look like they're going to be head and shoulders above the other 6, and I have to think that wasn't really the goal. We can say with certainty that both Seattle and Vancouver will have good to great teams. The league made sure that they'd have top-level players good enough to compete with the talent on the original 6 this past season. What I think they miscalculated is that the level of talent overall is going to go down as the talent is dispersed. Did they forget that, there were subtractions here as well as additions? Losing the tied for top scorer in the entire league, 2 of the nominees for best defender, 4 of the foundational signees of the 24 that started the league, and 2 premier goalies already in just the first 10 players of the 24 total that will be moved. That's going to massively shift the balance of power in the league. You can pick any team and look at the gigantic holes that are left that may be filled with a free agent or a draft pick. But Seattle and Vancouver don't have as many glaring absences because they're able to pick and choose. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them finish 1 and 2, to be honest. Another thing that still doesn't sit well with me is the rookies. Breaking it down, Seattle got 2 rookies from last season, Barnes and Serdachny. Vancouver signed 2 as well, Gardner and Thompson. That's 4 top picks from the draft, the 2nd and 3rd overall pick, the 5th overall pick, and the 10th. We'll definitely see more rookies targeted as their salaries are lower and their value is high. You can expect to see Hannah Bilka probably picked by Seattle. Julia Gosling, the 6th overall pick, is likely to be plucked, and Boston's Daniela Pesheva would be another choice that wouldn't surprise me. This aspect of the expansion is something that just doesn't seem to work with the idea of building a fan base. And then what about the 4th protected players? What did you think of the choices there? Britta Curl from Minnesota, Gabby Hughes from Ottawa, Erin Ambrose from Montreal, and Maya Nyland Pearson from New York. Right now, Toronto has only lost 1 and Boston has only lost 1, so we don't know who's next on their list. And it sounds like they're going to have something like 2 minutes to choose their next protected player once they lose the player in the draft. So I would think they probably already have kind of their if-then scenarios written down. And interestingly, salary information will be released, at least to the agents and players, and that was decided by the PA, so that's going to help them know the comparables and know what they should be asking. But once they have their top players on these expensive deals, the reality is that the salary cap is going to prevent Seattle and Vancouver from taking on more than 1 more each, I would say. Several of the players who moved negotiated raises that brought them up to the level of those platinum players, as we'll call them. So look for Seattle and Vancouver to reach for the 2nd-tier players, the depth forwards and defensive defenders. Players who might be good value for them would be like Emily Brown, Shea Maloney, Brooke McQuaig, Izzy Daniel, Allison Simpson, maybe Anna Wilgren, Kaylee Osborne, and Megan Carter. And then another hot topic that comes to mind for me is free agents. I wrote an article for the Hockey News about the importance of the original 6 retaining their free agents if at all possible. Every team has at least 1 very central player that is heading to free agency, and this could really tip the scales in favor of Vancouver and Seattle if the top names go out west. So free agent names to watch would be Boston's Susanna Tapani, definitely Montreal's defenders Mariah Keppel and Katie Tabin. Hannah Miller we think might leave, but Toronto also has Jessie Comfer and Kelly Flanagan that would be really important to keep. In Minnesota, they've got Michaela Cava heading to free agency and Maddie Rooney. And perhaps the biggest name on the free agent board is Ottawa's Teresa Vanisheva, who was a breakout star this season. Ottawa really wants to bring her back. So those are the quick hits. Don't forget, Becky Kellar is joining me Tuesday for a quick edition of the Puck Drop podcast. So we'll get her thoughts on what went down, who got picked, and what the teams look like going forward. Be sure to check that out on the podcast playlist. Again, special expansion edition with Becky Kellar. And drop your comments here, questions, I'll answer. I'm keeping up with the discussion. So hit that thumbs up. Thank you so much for continuing to participate and appreciate all your support. See you in the next one.